These masters don't even realize they're alive. The toys are born into a system where the very fact that they are alive is kept in the closet. Whatever that child wants, that toy must oblige. Is it even possible to kill a toy? There is one other way this whole toy story could play out. A human versus toy total war. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory. Last time we discussed the horrific realities of being a toy in the Toy Story universe. You have one purpose in life, and God forbid you strive for anything else. And that one purpose requires you to be controlled by masters who don't even know you're alive. Your very existence is kept secret. And as a result, you have literally no say in all the awful things that are going to be done to you. It's thankless, it's humiliating, and there is no escape. Even if you wanted to die, you can't, unless of course you're willing to burn or explode yourself. It sucks. For as bright and fun as these movies are, it is undeniably the worst Pixar world to be trapped as a character in. But that might not be true for much longer. You see, there's a storm coming. If you go back and look across the 3 Toy Story movies, as well as the trailer for number 4, there's a disturbing trend that you can see happening on the screen. War is on the horizon. A war between servant and master, toy and human. The toys are getting closer and closer to fighting back in a big way. When they do, let's just say it's not gonna look too good for us humans. Don't believe me? Well, leave your childhoods at the door because you're about to get drafted into the great Toy Story war. Remember back in the first movie when a toy getting knocked out of the bedroom window was the single worst thing that could possibly happen to a toy? Well, fast forward to the Toy Story 4 trailer and we now have toys leaping out of windows left and right. They're traveling cross-country to save each other and then wind up back with their human overlords. But the important thing to note here is that they're exerting what they want.
Buzz, we've got to get Forky. Affirmative. Let's go!
In the original Toy Story, our favorite characters were helpless. They were indoctrinated into this belief that they had no control over their own destinies, that they were helpless in the face of disasters. They couldn't cross out of Andy's room without his permission. But Buzz's disappearance in the first movie and the subsequent rescue mission gave them a taste of freedom. They saw outside of their bubble. They got a taste of the outside world, and it showed them that they had more control and power than they could have ever known. So much so that they could fight back against the very humans they were built to entertain.
So play nice.
Think I'm over-exaggerating? Early on in the series, the toys sit around helplessly, waiting to be played with by their human masters. But as the films go on, not only did the toys realize that they can simply play with other toys and cut out the human middleman, but they can also start enacting schemes to get exactly what they want out of their human masters. Even going so far as to manipulate Andy with phone calls and post-it notes.
Hello? Hello? Anyone there?
I mean, that is next level manipulation. Seriously, just stop and look at where the toys are now. Long gone are the days when it literally took an army to spy on Andy.
Oh, what do we have here? Oh! Wait! Turn that thing back on!
Come in, Mother Bird.
By the time Toy Story 3 rolls around, the toys can easily surveil Andy remotely.
That's impossible.
No, I really see him in his room. My other eye, the one I left behind.
As we see the Potato Heads learning to use their unique powers as toys to good use. Good strategic use. And the Mr. and Mrs. here aren't the only ones doing this. In the first movie, the closest to flight Buzz ever got was accidentally falling with style. Now in the Toy Story 4 trailer, we see him able to launch himself and glide at will. And what's more, not only are they mastering their own abilities, they're also mastering human technology. In the original film, these dum-dums could barely manage to put batteries into a walkie-talkie.
No, turn him around, turn him around! He's putting him in back. You're putting him in backwards. Plus is positive, minus is negative. Oh, let me!
But by Toy Story 3, they're more tech-savvy than your parents.
Who's Velocistar 237?
Oh, that's just a dinosaur toy down the street. That's nothing. Let me just take care of that. Just
the dinosaur.
That clip is important because it shows not only that Andy's toys have mastered things like online communication and online gaming, but also that they're not the only toys doing it.
That's just a dinosaur toy down the street.
All the toys in the neighborhood, heck, all the toys in the world are getting smarter. They're getting savvier. So the toys are asserting themselves. They're learning. That's not that big of a deal though, since for now, they're happy doing all that in service of us humans. The key words there though are for now. Remember, the toy existence is a brutal cycle. They're created out of a kid's love and imagination, which is beautiful. A child loves his toy, and a toy loves his child. But from that point forward, the toy's existence is a constant stream of mistreatment until they're eventually forgotten about and thrown away by the very person who brought them to life in the first place. It is thankless and it is sad. You can only put up with those sorts of indignities for so long before you expect something better. And now, in Toy Story 4, you can start to see the seeds of revolt being sown. Forky doesn't want to be a toy. Bo Peep is actively pursuing an independent life and trying to convince Woody to do the same. They're both characters who recognize the failure of the system they exist in and are looking to break the wheel.
I'm going to break the wheel.
Maybe let's not use that clip anymore. But seriously, there is dissent rising up among the toys. And where there's dissent, there's the spark of war. Don't take it from me either. To understand something about the art of war, what causes it, and who wins, I turn to R.J. Rummel, the acclaimed political scientist who literally wrote the book on this stuff. Rummel identified 6 socio-political causes of international conflict war. And guess what? Toy Story solidly checks all 6 boxes. Point number 1, significant change in the balance of powers. Just so happens that we just talked about this one. Toys are figuring out how awesome they are, they're starting to take action, they're manipulating humans to do what they want, and mastering skills that give them incredible advantages over their puny human counterparts. Big old check in that box. Point number 2, opposing interests and capabilities. Let me ask you this, is there a disparity of interests between humans and toys? Let's think about that for a moment, shall we?
I thought I told him to pick these up.
Woody's armrest.
There's so much fluff.
At their best, human owners grow up and lose interest in toys. At their worst, they torture and mangle toys into tiny pieces. There is no way for toys to win in this scenario. Humans want to grow up, and it's in a toy's best interests if they don't. Check next. Point number 3, contact and salience. What's this mean? Well, it basically just means, are the two groups aware of one another? In this case, almost no humans know about the sentience of toys, despite almost every household having them, meaning that toys, who are very aware of their humans, have already fully infiltrated every corner of human existence, but still possess the element of surprise. It's like 6 billion Trojan horses have found their way into every home across the entire world. Are the two groups in contact with one another? You bet they are. Number 4, individual perceptions and expectations. Now, this one has to do with whether the two groups understand and empathize with each other's situations and feel the same things. If they do, no war. If they don't, the battle is on, baby. And in the case of Toy Story, well, this one's just laughable. Since toys are constantly heartbroken when their child grows up, well, the child has no perception of how their toy feels. They have no clue that they even have to meet the expectations of the toy in the first place. Meanwhile, all the toy knows is abandonment. After a cycle or 2 of that, the toys start to catch on. They start to grow bitter. They start to get angry. They start to become a lot like Lotso.
Something changed that day inside Lotso. Something snapped. She replaced us.
Lotso wasn't a villain. He was just a revolutionary ahead of his time. Point number 5, a disrupted structure of expectations. This one is all about whether the status quo has changed. Is one group starting to expect better, or at least different treatment? Well, the toys have started to get more frequent tastes of freedom. They're starting to warm up to the notion of self-determination. And with it, the entire slave-to-children social structure that's persisted up to this point in the movies is being threatened. Even in characters like Woody, who has been one of the strictest loyalists to the existing system. If someone doesn't want to abandon his kid, whether it's Andy or Bonnie, it is Woody, and even Woody's faith in this system is starting to shake.
Woody, aren't we going to Bonnie?
But But at the end of the day, the checkbox that truly matters the most is the last one. Point number 6, will to conflict. Do the toys have it in them to actually do anything about their situation? Would they really attack the humans that they love so dearly? The answer is yeah. Toys already have a track record of will to conflict against humans who mistreat them. Not all toys, of course.
I don't like confrontations!
But some. When it seems like toys are getting abused and mistreated, like in the case of Sid, the toys show that they are willing to push back. And as we've seen, the toy population at large is waking up to this idea that they're being mistreated all the time. Not just physical mistreatment by crazed kids who Frankenstein baby heads onto spider legs, but emotional mistreatment from the supposedly good owners who grow up and abandon them. I'm not saying we're here just yet in Toy Story 4, but literally everything in the history of the world shows that the relationship between toys and humans is a powder keg, where every risk factor exists and all socio-political signs point towards violent conflict. And that's the last area that we have to carry out to its logical conclusion here, friends. Because if toys are becoming assertive, if they're truly becoming masters of their own fate and encouraging other toys to do the same, it means that over time the balance of power is shifting from people playing with toys to toys playing with people. What we humans don't understand is how much trouble we'd be in if our toys truly revolted. Let's look at the evidence. For a start, toys are far smarter than humans. Who needs all that childhood development nonsense when you can be at full strength from the get-go, right? Buzz isn't even alive for 10 minutes before he's falling with style. And he's multilingual with a flip of a switch.
¿Quién anda ahí? ¿Amigo o enemigo?
Compare that to humans who need to be alive for at least a year before they so much as walk, and who need 600 to 750 classroom hours to learn Spanish as a second language. We can't overlook the simple truth that toys, as a population, have successfully kept the very fact they're alive under wraps generation after generation, owner after owner. It is the best kept secret ever. And all the toys, every last one, has been able to maintain that ruse forever. So toys are smarter, big deal, but brains aren't everything, right? I mean, after all, humans are bigger and stronger than toys, for now, at least. There's one scene that I've always wanted to talk about here on Film Theory, and today is finally the day. The tortilla scene with Mr. Potato Head. In Toy Story 3, Mr. Potato Head puts his eyeballs into a plain, non-toy tortilla, and suddenly he has physical control over said tortilla. He becomes Mr. Tortilla Head. In that one moment, he's effectively turned an inanimate object into a sentient being, instantaneously. Consider the ramifications of this one scene. If toys can control non-toy objects, well, they've essentially invented avatars. Stand-ins for themselves made of any object they can imagine, or stick an ear into, I guess. A tortilla ain't so threatening, but stick those eyes onto a tree and you suddenly have a literal whomping willow on your hands. Removable and swappable body parts give toys what almost amount to superpowers. For instance, Mrs. Potato Head's eye can literally transmit images back to the rest of her body from across town, meaning that any ear or eye left behind can serve as its own immortal surveillance equipment. And the potato heads with their tortillas and remote surveillance demonstrate something else that's even more threatening. If they can suddenly split their bodies into a small handful of different pieces and operate all of them independently, well then, why can't they split them up into 24 different pieces? Or 36, 1,000, a billion? Is the spark that gives a toy life inherent in every atom of its body? Would crushing or incinerating a toy do anything? Or would that just create an army of many millions of tiny mini toys? I brought it up last episode, but toys are already going to be a really hard enemy to kill. Sid's experiments prove that even a fishing pole with legs can be alive. But if that's the case, where is the end of it all? So what do you get when you take a society of sentient creatures all trying to grapple with their existence as the property of underdeveloped humans? You get the most dystopian society that you're going to encounter in a movie this year, my comrades. The long and short of today's episode is this. Remember your toys. Go back and visit that overcrowded box of old stuffed animals, the oodles of Barbies crammed into your mother's attic. Do it for the memories. Do it to revisit a simpler time. Most importantly of all, do it to ingratiate yourself to the toy who will one day be choosing how to play with you. Let's hope that they remember to play nice. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And while we're on the subject of protecting yourself from imminent threats around your home, let's talk about our sponsor for today's episode, NordVPN. Well, Nord won't be able to protect you from your old toys coming after you. It can prevent your phone, aka your grown-up toy, from coming after you instead. Nord is a regular sponsor of Film Theory, which means that they're awesome and what they do is awesome. And what they do is to protect all your internet-y devices like your phone, tablet, and computer from getting hacked online. Using a VPN protects every byte of data that comes into and leaves your computer, keeping all your email passwords, banking information, and that all-important HBO Go login information away from anyone who shouldn't have access to it, which is pretty much everyone but you yourself. Going to some shady websites or places where you don't want other people knowing that you're headed to, VPN's gonna make sure that that data stays private. And with the passage of laws like Article 13, a VPN like Nord is gonna be able to help you get around all those pesky content walls that are gonna be put up over the next couple years. Nord is fast, it has servers in 61 countries with 24/7 customer support and military-grade encryption that makes it one of the most trusted online security systems in the world. And right now, you can get that world-class protection at an amazing rate, 75% off a 3-year plan. All you have to do is go to nordvpn.com/filmtheory. And then, once you're checking out, you can use the code FILMTHEORY again and get yet another month completely free. That makes your subscription just $2.99 per month, so you can browse and shop online security across all of your devices and then have that extra penny left over to give a penny, take a penny at like the gas station. Anyway, that is nordvpn.com/filmtheory, or, you know, it's in the top line of the description. Do it now and let Nord protect the internet for you, because you've got like 1,000 killer toys in your attic that you gotta worry about instead. The internet should be the last thing on your mind. So go ahead, get going, and just be careful of any sentient sporks that might be roaming around your kitchen. Just saying.